Hi and welcome to a slightly different edition of Formula Chat. This one I'm going to focus on a particular race car. We're going to see how this goes and see what you think. So if you've got any comments, any questions, please drop them in the comment bar below. Remember, if you're liking the content, grab us a like and a subscribe below. But this content, we are going to focus on the fabulous Jordan 191. Now, I'm lucky enough to get to work with some brilliant race cars of all different sorts of discipline, from Formula One, rallying, sports cars, touring cars, and even bike racing. But this one has been one of my absolute favourites since a very young age, the fabulous Jordan 191. This was a real treat to get to work with this car. It's a car that I remember when I was a small child being at Silverstone at the Grand Prix, and it being one of the first cars that I really remember seeing racing. I think firstly, it's that vibrant green colour. It really grabs you and punches you in the face. And this was part of a deal that then team boss Eddie Jordan, who ran a Formula 3000 team in the late 1980s into the early 1990s, decided to head into Formula One, and he commissioned a chap called Gary Anderson to design this car. Gary had worked with Reynard on Formula 3000 cars, and he designed this stunning, very simplistic, I think, but stunning sweeping designs of this lovely Jordan. It was released in the late 1990 at Silverstone, and if I just ping the camera around here, I've got a photo of the car, an enlarged photo of what the car looked like when it first tested. It was tested by John Watson, the British Grand Prix winner, and Bertrand Gachot, and you'll notice the car had the number 911. Now, legend has it that Eddie Jordan put that number on the side of the car almost to upset Porsche, and then cut a deal with them, probably making some money, or even a Porsche 911, out of changing the name to 191. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know, but it's a nice little story. And Eddie Jordan was really one of the characters, certainly a very colourful character, the Irishman who owned this fabulous Formula One team. So this car burst onto the scene. Now, back in 1991, there were a huge amount of teams wanting to race in Formula One. So there was actually pre-qualifying used to take place early on a Friday morning. This car would have taken part in pre-qualifying in the hands of Bertrand Gachot and Andrea de Cesaris, the first couple of drivers of this car. And pre-qualifying really was to get rid of the teams who weren't quick enough to then get through to qualifying itself. Qualifying used to then have 30 cars to get down to 26 for the race, and this car regularly made it. And it was the Canadian Grand Prix in 1991 that this car scored its first point score, which was a really an amazing feat for a team in its first season. Now, the car had, or the drivers had, a little bit of checkered history, which we'll come to in a second, but I'm just going to show you inside the car and how simplistic it is in comparison to the Formula One cars that we have today, and certainly other race cars. Really simplistic, very low sides that we've got to the car here, not a lot of head protection at all. This car did have a huge accident at Bridge Corner, a corner that's now been retired at Silverstone Circuit. Andrea de Cesaris crashed. If you look at any of the footage of that crash, you really get to see how the driver's head moved around, and there wasn't a lot of head protection. But still, carbon fibre tub, as you can see inside. Looking inside the car, you've got the fire extinguisher sitting there, or even if I get the camera right in here, you can see the chassis plate just here, and you can see the date of the car's production, 13th of April 1991. This actual tub was first commissioned. That's the chassis plate on it there. You'll also notice there's a number of different drivers there, and as I said, the drivers had a checkered history to this car. So Bertrand Gachot was the driver alongside Andrea de Cesaris. De Cesaris had been around quite a number of years, De Cesaris was a driver that was sponsored, had a lot of links with the Marlboro cigarette brand, and he was one of the drivers. And Bertrand Gachot, a relatively up-and-coming driver, raced under a Belgian license, but was a true European. That's why he had the European stars on the side of his helmet. However, Bertrand Gachot was arrested for a CS gas incident, spraying a gas at a taxi driver in London. And partway through the season, that went to court, and he ended up spending a short period of time in prison, leading Jordan to need a driver for the Belgian Grand Prix. Now, initially that driver was meant to be Stefan Johansson, the ex-Ferrari and McLaren driver. However, Stefan Johansson wanted money, and Eddie Jordan managed to cut a deal with a young Michael Schumacher. Very little was heard about Michael Schumacher. He'd been racing Mercedes sports cars, and been very successful in doing that. However, he was, there was a will from various people to get him in a Formula One car. So he managed to get the drive for the Belgian Grand Prix, and Schumacher drove this car at the Belgian Grand Prix, qualified in 7th place, which was outstanding and really took the world by storm. Unfortunately for Schumacher and the Jordan team, his race lasted less than the first lap. The clutch burnt out, various people blaming things like the fact that Schumacher would only really been used to the starts from kind of rolling starts in sports cars rather than standing starts needed in Formula One. However, he'd done enough to really hit the headlines, and this car really catapulted Schumacher. Jordan weren't able to hang on to him, and by the next race, he was driving for the Benetton Formula One team, and a year later, he scored his first Formula One win at the Belgian Grand Prix for Benetton. So this car really significant. You'll also notice the name Zanardi there, Alex Zanardi. The IndyCar champ, had a couple of forays in Formula One before being very, very successful at IndyCar, and then had that awful accident in Germany in IndyCar, and he ended up ending up in a wheelchair, but then being a successful Olympian. So this car had some really interesting drivers driving for it. As I just scan across the car, you can see how the lines are absolutely lovely. I love this raised nose effect just here, really simplistically done. And if you've seen any of the other cars from the time, things like the Tyrrell at the year before had a very anhedral, angular front wing. This one was done very, very subtly. I love the way the lines, the green and the blue, blended together. The Tic Tac sponsorship, that changed and was Fuji at times throughout the year. And then we move over to the engine cover, hiding underneath the Ford HB engine that Jordan managed to cut a deal with a Ford exec to get that engine in the car. You've then got this triple plane wing, which was really, really significant and really stood out. Lots of different types of experimental rear wings and things going on with Formula One. And then the other thing that always stood out for me, I remember having a model of this car, was the diffuser and how it really stands out from the rear wheel of the car. If I just move the camera here, you can see how it stands out from the back of the car. But I think it's a stunning piece of design. And I'll just get in here. This car is fully equipped with engine, gearbox and everything, and you can just get a bit of a peek inside here at some of those things. And I love the way, if I get the camera in here, you can see the suspension wishbones are all bolted together, and you get a lovely sense of the little detailing parts on the car here. It really is absolutely stunning. You'd also, if you could smell it here, this car is a runner, and you can smell the oil and the fuel, and it's absolutely lovely to be up close to a car like this. It really is absolutely gorgeous, and I'm privileged to get a chance to work with this car. If you've got any questions, please drop me a line. If you're liking this content, grab me a like, grab a subscribe on the channel. I'll hopefully be able to do a few more of these videos where we focus a little bit detail of some of the cars, and potentially some bikes that I come across while I'm out and about at different events throughout 2024. So my name is Rob Jane, Rob Jane 83. Grab us a like, grab a subscribe on the channel if you've enjoyed this content, and please grab us a question.